Yes, guys, I'm back for another episode of Rio Reacts, and we're here in Bilbao with Just Eat. Listen, guys, what are you thinking? You know what I'm thinking? I'm feeling a bit let down by that.
Do you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking I didn't think you'd be as bouncy as you are with the intro, because I know what you feel. I mean, I've got to say, Ree, I thought we'd get a lot more from Manchester United. I mean, we spoke about this this morning, and I thought Manchester United would win the final. You did.
Yeah.
I didn't think they'd play like that.
They just looked a little bit. They looked like two teams who were scared to go and win. They didn't play with the risk that you normally see them in the Europa League. We've seen risk. We've seen the risk and reward that they've got in many of the games. They've been behind, or they've needed to go for it, and then they found a way. Bruno, especially, being that guy, played a bit deeper today, obviously, but he's still done it from that position in previous games. But I actually felt the team selection was. I worried about that as soon as I saw the teams. I didn't see no thrust in our team. Mason Mount brings you that security in the midfield. He can pack it out. He can come in there and be an extra body, like the manager said before the game when I asked him. But I was still a bit concerned that with Spurs having all of their defenders back, that make them stronger, it makes them quicker, that we still didn't have a player to run beyond them and stretch them a bit. And that was my big concern going into the game.
Did you think when you saw the team that he'd overthought it a little bit, based on the fact that Casemiro and Ugarte had played really well together in the two previous knockout rounds?
Yep.
Bruno further forward. Yep. Garnacho's looked a threat in the Europa League. He starts with Ahmad, who's played hardly any football. Mason Mount had a good 20 minutes against Athletic Bilbao. And Bruno, as you said, is really deep. Hindsight's great, isn't it? But when you see it in the cold light of day, did he overthink it, Ruben Amorim?
I think it went a bit defensive. I think he went a bit conservative. I'm not saying Mason can't score and can't be a threat, but Mason isn't the type of player who's the one that's going to get you up the pitch. If you get up the pitch and you're in and around the box and you want a finisher, like he's proved in the last game, the last round, he can finish. He's someone who can be decisive. But if you want someone who can actually do well for you in transitions and get beyond the team and get a team on the back foot, someone like Garnacho, as he's proved this season, can be your player. He's your outlet. We didn't have an outlet in the game today. First half, I thought Ahmad looked sharp. At moments, he caused him a few problems. Flash one across the goal, if I remember rightly. But there weren't any times when anybody saw green grass behind their defence and made runs and running behind. And if you're not doing that to a team, they don't feel threatened and they can be aggressive. They can be on the front foot. And they were the whole game. And they were happy to defend. And that's why I think it's been a bit unfair, the criticism of Ange Postecoglou, if I can switch it to Spurs. He had his back four in play and the goalkeeper fit today. Ain't been afforded that too many times this season. Definitely not enough. He got that today, and you saw a confidence in their ability to say, right, we can stand and defend our 18-yard box with confidence, and they've done that today.
I want to just take you back to Manchester United before we dive into Spurs. Do you think he took too long to make his changes? Ali McCoy said to me at half-time, if it was him, he would put Garnacho on at that point. Yeah. From the minute the second half kicked off, 5 substitutes warmed up for about 20 minutes. Yeah. I thought they were going to need a rest before they came on. Did he wait too long to try and affect the game in a positive way?
I thought they did. I was obviously sitting with Gareth Bale, with Scholesy, with Glenn Hoddle, Robbie Savage. All of us sitting there going, when's he going to change it? I just thought the game needed a spark. It needed a different reference point. Rasmus wasn't getting any ball. Mason Mount wasn't getting high enough to really affect the game. Ahmad in the second half wasn't really doing what he was doing in the first half. We had no cutting edge, no cutthroat football at all. And again, no ability to just play the ball, a direct ball behind the team and say, right, run onto it. And we just looked flat. I don't know, we started putting them on the back foot and putting balls into areas. The keeper's made one save today. He's made one save. A good save, but he's made one save. You're going to a final when you're saying the opposition goalkeeper's going to make one save. You don't deserve to win a football match.
Now you've seen the big sample size. Manchester United can't win Premier League games. This has been the salvation for them as a competition. All the talk before the final was whether Ange Postecoglou was going to be the Tottenham manager at the start of next season. He's now won a trophy, and that question still remains. Have we seen enough from Ruben Amorim? And did the final influence anybody in any way, do you think, about what his future actually looks like? Because if you think about it, and we're realistic about it, he's made a mess of that final tonight, Ruben Amorim.
I said before the game, I don't think the result will determine his future. I don't think any type of result or performance will affect him going into next season. I think he was definitely assured of that.
Should it though? Should tonight's performance change that thought process?
No, because I think you got to look at it. He didn't want to come in the first place at this part of the season that they got him because he knew he wouldn't have had a pre-season. He knows the importance of a pre-season. That time on the ground, on a training ground with your players to mould them into what you want them to be is vital. And I know as a player, when I didn't do a pre-season, I didn't perform anywhere near my best. So he's going to get that now, and he's going to have a window to recruit players. Given that, these next 10, 15 games to start the season are going to be absolutely important. And the pressure, I think, will be amped up even more for him to go and perform and get a team playing to the way that he expects them to play. Because if he doesn't, that's when I think with more of a right to start questioning him, is he the right guy then?
You know I like numbers, right? So Manchester United have lost 20 games this season.
Horrendous.
It's the most defeats in a season for 51 years.
It is a disaster.
Right, and it only 6 seasons in the history of the club have they lost more than 20 games. So you can see what a disaster. I mean, if you look at it statistically speaking, it's near enough as bad as it could get. So I thought coming into the final, well, if they win it and they get into the Champions League, that can speed up the process because they can attract a certain type of player. There's more revenue in the club, and that gets you nearer to where you want to be.
Yeah.
They feel right now, after this defeat in the final, as far away as they could possibly be from where they actually want to get to. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. And they've got a new stadium to build, new training ground to update. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of things outside the football pitch that still have to get updated as well. So it's a long road, I think. But I think if you can switch it and try and find a positive from not being in the Champions League next season and not being in Europe, is that he is going to get more time to coach the players on the pitch. Less games, less midweek games, that he's going to get time to coach these players, and then there's no excuses.
But what do you think the summer looks like in terms of who he wanted, who they wanted, now who they can realistically get? Because you're saying, right, do you want to come and sign for the 16th best team in the Premier League and there's no Europe, and we don't know how long the manager's going to be here either, based on what we're seeing? That's a tough sell for a player. If I put you in a player's shoes, let's say you're Victor Gyökeres at Sporting Lisbon, even though you know the manager, are you taking a punt on that, or are you thinking there's other places now that I can go?
Yeah, well, we did speak about this on the show before, and I think it's really important to stress that I think they had probably 2 or 3 lists based on the outcome of this game. Based on qualification for Champions League, there's a list of players. That list drastically changes if you don't get into the Champions League. And there's a middle list that maybe they'll still approach a player that there might be a chance that the badge and the history of the club, they still might be able to convert them and get them over the line. But I think that list very drastically has changed now that Man United are in the Champions League, and they're going to have to. I think they have to put a mood board up and maybe do a couple of videos to really sell it into these players as to what the project looks like and where it can go. Because, like you say, in the cold light of day, if you're looking at it and you're finishing 16th, 17th in the league, you're losing a Europa League team final against a poor, average Spurs team as well. And like you say, if you're looking at a manager that you don't know if he's going to be there come Christmas, if they don't start well, it is a tough sell to get players in.
Do you know the Tottenham side of this? We've described Postecoglou as reckless. We've all said he's a maverick. We've all said
one-dimensional.
One-dimensional. None of it makes sense. He was practical, I thought, tonight. They played deeper. The defender shape was good.
I asked him after the game. We had him on the TV with TNT, and I asked him point blank, like, it's been pointed at you, you've been criticised heavily, which a lot of it I've not agreed with, but a lot of the criticism in the season was about his inability to have a plan B. But we saw it today, and at other times in Europa, he's found no other way to win a game and get through, and it's been a long time coming. And he said, well, let me just stop you there, basically. It's knockout football. Very different. So that's the way I do have to approach it differently. And so it might just trigger him to think, you know what, maybe in the Premier League I can do this as well. And if he adapts it like in the Premier League, you mentioned it earlier, he could have a career at Spurs for years, because I think he has got a nucleus of he's got a resolute team at times. If he played that back four that played today and the goalkeeper, that's a resolute back four. They dealt with Højlund, who's been dealt with by most, but then Harry Maguire's come up in recent weeks and caused a lot of havoc. He didn't cause any havoc really today. They dealt with that. And they've got pace to burn at the back there. So they become a different proposition if they stay fit and they recruit well, because they've got a young squad there that if he adds experience, like he said, that's what he would be looking to add if he gets a chance to go into this recruitment phase. If he adds experience to the young players he's got already, they're a different team.
Two-part question. Do you think that they can grow from here under Postecoglou and really kick on? And which of the two managers' long-term prospects are better now after 90 minutes in Bilbao?
Well, I think when everyone's fit, I think that Spurs are probably in a better position, player-wise, if I went player for player. If everyone's fit and firing on all cylinders right at this moment in time. But I think Postecoglou as well. If you give him a fully fit team and doesn't have the injuries he's had, like you say, 4 out of the back 5 have been injured for a big part of the season. You do that to any team in the Premier League, they're going to fall down that league. So if he gets a good team, his team fit, and I think if he adds the ability to have that plan B and change his team a little bit and the structure of his team at times, I think he's got a really good chance of creating something there. Because when you win a trophy, what that does for your confidence is almost indescribable. What that does, the way it lifts you, the way you bounce into your summer, then you bounce into pre-season. Other players are looking to come there because you're in the Champions League. Now they've got a new list. Do you know what I mean? They've got a different list to if they lost. Do you know what I mean? The players that can come there and want to play Champions League football, they've got a different. I think they've got different conversations with players that are already in the club now this summer. Players that might have wanted to leave if they hadn't got in the Champions League. So it's a big summer for them, both incoming but also keeping players. And I'm interested to see also what the manager does, because a lot of people said he could have a mic drop position right now after winning that and go, thank you, but no thanks. I said what I was going to do. Good night.
Brian Johnson said that on the pitch, didn't he? After
yeah.
he used the exact phrase, this could be the mic drop if that's what he chooses to do. Just one on back to Manchester United. How much more pressure now does this put on Jim Ratcliffe? Because if you're in the Champions League, you get the money. We're all talking about Ruben Amorim and we're all talking about the players. He's the fella that's come in and said, I want to run the football side of this football club. And he kind of insisted on that, didn't he, when he got his share of the club.
Yeah.
He's now got to make the money available, whether he likes it or not, to get this team moving. How much pressure is he under now to deliver on the promises that he made when he came in?
I don't know if he thought that he would be in this position right now, because it was very low when he came. And he probably thought, you know what, I can't be much lower than this. I'll get them back up and I'll stabilise minimum, drop a couple of places minimum. But to be where they are and fall off to where they are and have the kind of PR disasters almost that they've had in recent times, he's under big pressure. I'm not saying he can't handle it, because he's built some massive companies and he's done some huge great things in his time on this earth. So I think he's made of the right stuff. I think he's got thick enough skin to deal with it, but he's got to get a working organisation that can really kind of paper over some of these cracks and start building now. Because these fans, me and Scholes were sitting there and going, some of these players are getting songs sung after him. The manager's got a song sung after him. They're languishing in the league. They're coming out in their thousands still and supporting his team. These guys need to start giving them something to sing about and justifying why they keep singing these songs about them, because it's difficult to keep fans singing when you're not producing the goods. And I think Jim Ratcliffe, his staff, the players, it's going to be a big summer. They've got to stay together and they've got to go and try and mix it now and roll their sleeves up. Right now, guys, we're back for our fans edition delivered by Just Eat. Last episode, I asked you guys, who is the GOAT of the Champions League nights? And there was only one real GOAT that people were talking about. I've got to say, Darren, it was... but my favourite response, I have to read it to you, was from Bob one Toby, and his tweet was, it has to be Cristiano Ronaldo. Champions League stage, 140 goals, all-time top goal scorer, 4 goals in finals. That's ridiculous. Decisive in 3 Champions League final wins. Match winner 30+ times. Oof. Big moments, big stages, 1 UEFA Champions League GOAT. I don't disagree with that, do you?
Nah.
You can't.
You can't.
You can't. You can't.
You know when you sit here and you want to be argumentative, but you just go...
I could see it in your eyes.
Yeah, you just... No. When you get that, you just go, yeah, fine. That's the mic drop.
Yeah, exactly. There's the mic drop. So listen, guys, that's all we got for Rio Reacts. Remember to tune in ahead of the Champions League final, where I will be recording an episode at the Just Eat Countdown House in Munich with some huge names.